Thank you, Chairman Walberg and Ranking Member Scott, and to our witnesses for being with us today. I have read your testimonies. Instead of addressing gun violence in our schools or taking real steps to get a handle on how expensive a year of child care or getting an education has become in this country, my Republican colleagues have been circulating a 50-page document going over ways that they can raise revenue at the expense of American families. Hidden deep in the leaked GOP memo is a proposal for a new tax on state and federal scholarships and fellowships, which I would like to submit digitally for the record. In my home state of Georgia, students and families have come to know and love the Hope and the Zellmiller scholarships, two programs that will pay for students' full yearly in-state tuition if they keep up their grades. I would like to make this very, very clear. National Republicans are proposing an increase on taxes for students and families in Georgia, an increase on taxes for families across this country. Students in Georgia know that if you work hard in school, the state will help you get through college and start a career. But this new tax threatens that promise and undercuts the financial security of Georgia's families, of this nation's families. Last year, more than 185,000 Georgians received almost $1 billion in scholarships and grants through the HOPE program alone. All of this award money, along with any other scholarship that a student earns, would now be considered taxable income if this proposal by House Republicans were to become a law. I'm a mother, and I know how important HOPE and other scholarships are to all the families across this country. I unfortunately never got to send my son Jordan off to college, but we certainly had been planning for it. And as a single mom working as a flight attendant before I came to Congress, figuring out how we were going to pay for it was something that I thought about often and every day. I thought about it until the day that he was murdered. The HOPE program was something I knew that Jordan and I could rely on, and it would be a gut punch for families who also rely on HOPE and other types of financial aid to no longer be able to count on these programs without receiving a new tax bill. I am horrified at this attempt. Families and students in our country deserve better. Ms. Nelson, my question is for you. In your testimony, you did talk about the importance of student aid. Can you briefly discuss the impact that taxing scholarships, grants, and fellowships would have on students and families at all income levels?
Absolutely, and thank you for also mentioning the issue of gun violence. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there have been over 700 school shootings in the past fewer than 2 decades. But to your question about taxation of scholarships, not only is that concerning because it limits the opportunities to achieve higher education, what many who are advocating for so-called school choice will do with those tax dollars is siphon them out of the public education school system and use them to fund private education for just a few. So not only is it taking money out of the pockets of people who need that funding to pursue higher education, it is then funneling that money potentially into the pockets of private actors who are trying to usurp the public school education system.
Is that something that's becoming more of a problem throughout the nation? It seems increasingly that those dollars are going to that very end. And I just want to say thank you for that answer, and I know that I will do everything in my power that I can ensure that this proposal never makes it beyond this memo. And I encourage all of my colleagues to fight back against this tax increase that will make students and families' lives harder and more expensive back home. I'm talking to my constituents and they are scared to death. How are they going to be able to afford to send their children to college? Most of the students across the nation, they need help. They need financial assistance. And why are we cutting them below the knees and preventing them from having what they deserve? It's a global and stellar academic education. They have to be able to globally compete. And this does not do that. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank the gentlelady. Now I recognize